Hi, I'm Rachel, and this is Designed Resilience, the corner of the internet where we talk about building daily habits and practices that give you the resilience you need when things are amazing or when things are hard, because life does both. And today's topic is going to be regarding the pillar of physical well being and about stretching specifically. So I read a ton, and one of the books I read in the past couple of years is David Goggins' Can't Hurt Me. So he is an elite military professional. He's also an ultra marathoner. He loves to put his body through punishing extended physical tests. And when I read his book, I walked through the journey with him where he realized that stretching was necessary so that he could continue to perform at the high level that he does. And there were some key learnings that he got as he implemented a stretching routine into his regimen that I found incredibly interesting and very helpful and a little bit more validating, because sometimes it can feel like stretching is not value add. When you are training your body, you're trying to get stronger or faster, and it can feel like stretching is wasted time. So, the first lesson that David shares about adding regular and extended stretching practices into his training is that he learned to overcome stiffness in his body and in his mind. He found that because he is such an extreme athlete, that he had become rigid about some of his philosophies about training and about the way that people should operate their lives and their bodies. And that stiffness had been mirrored in his body. So as he sat and began to stretch and loosen his muscles, he realized that sometimes you need to stretch and loosen your beliefs, your thought patterns, and some of the frameworks that you use on a daily basis. And so he valued that ability to move from a very stiff and sort of rigid experience in mind and body to one that was looser and more flexible and would allow him to adapt and overcome more easily. Um, he also found that, at least in his initial stretching journey, that it was very uncomfortable. And if you've ever been sore, maybe you took some time off from working out and then you went back and you tried to work out like you used to be able to when you were in regular practice, you know that day one after you might not be too sore, but day 2 and 3 is going to be really difficult because you're going to be so sore. So stretching, although it's going to bring the relief from soreness, is painful. And he used that transition of getting very stiff and going through the stretching process and becoming more flexible to embrace discomfort. He knew the relief that was on the other side of those stretches, but doing things like foam rolling or a stretching routine when you're very sore is painful, and it's something you have to breathe through and know that there is benefit on the other side once you get through the discomfort. He also found that as he stretched, there was a silence and a stillness that he was missing in his life. So obviously, David is super hardcore. When he does his ultra marathons, he doesn't usually listen to anything, no music or anything like that. So mental toughness is kind of what this guy's jam is. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it was quiet and restorative in his mind. And so he found with a stretching practice that he was able to center and be quiet in his mind and in his heart as he was just holding the stretches and allowing his muscles to relax and lengthen themselves. And I think that's a really important tool and a really important space for all of us to be able to get to when life gets too crazy or chaotic, is a way to find that stillness. And for some people, it's taking a walk in nature. For some people, it is practiced meditation. For David, it was stretching. And so that's a powerful tool that he can use when his mind gets too noisy, and he can go and stretch and find that stillness. For him, stretching was beyond being motivated to do it. Obviously, as a very intense athlete and a high performing person, stretching can feel, simple and unproductive. But when he began his practice, it wasn't about finding the motivation to stretch. It's about doing what you need to do to put yourself in the best possible place to perform at your highest capability. And so it moved beyond something he had to talk himself into. Once he began his stretching practice, he learned that this is absolutely something he needs to do, just like drinking plenty of water, just like getting the right nutrients in his food, just like mapping out the courses he's going to run and understanding the challenges he's going to face, having the right equipment, all of that. Stretching became something that was necessary for him to continue to perform at an elite level. So I am not anything like David Goggins. I am not an elite athlete. I am not someone who pushes my body to the brink regularly. But what I did love and could relate to in this story is that there are practices, whether it's just stretching for itself or stretching through a workout modality like yoga or Pilates, that the act of slowing down, stretching your muscles, allowing them to release and lengthen, to give you more flexibility, to improve your agility, can have so many other benefits than just for your muscles. They can help you quiet yourself and bring you into a centered place so that you can rest. Your mind can rest. It doesn't have to be spinning all the time. That you can prove to yourself. And that's really where yoga has come in for me in this stretching concept, is proof that I can breathe through discomfort, because yoga is, for me, not easy. It is requires a lot of strength from my muscles, and it requires patience as you're holding a pose. And so I learned that I don't have to panic when things are uncomfortable. I can breathe and center and allow the experience to do its work. And I think all of those are incredibly useful tools as we go through life, as we make choices in our day-to-day habits. Having a stretching practice builds strength and resilience in areas of our lives that will translate far beyond the mat that we're stretching on into our daily lives. And so I would encourage you, as you are finding ways to get into your body and to be connected to your body, so it's not just the machine that carries your brain around, like sometimes I treat my body like. Stretching can give you the opportunity to slow down, connect, find center, and prepare you to be the most optimal whatever you choose to be. So I hope you have found this helpful, and I'll see you next time.